I'm Mart Camoccio, Gun Mart TV, and I've kindly been lent this rifle from Range and Country in Sleaford, and this is the Diana 34 EMS. And it might look familiar, but it's actually a relatively new model sort of in their listings. It's obviously you know, a sort of development on a theme that they've you know, it's quite a familiar looking rifle. If you're thinking it looks familiar, it's obviously there was the Diana 280, which I think is still in the lineup, which is a sort of shorter break barrel spring piston model. And if you look at this one, you've got sort of an oversized cylinder. That's quite a large, quite a long cylinder there, quite wide as well, wide diameter. So it's obviously there's sort of one eye on the FAC market from Diana with these. Obviously this one is the sub 12 foot-pounds for the UK market. But it's the build quality on these. I mean, Diana are a sort of premium brand known for their original sort of top quality break barrel spring guns, and obviously there's a whole load of different models they do, but that's sort of their bread and butter. And this is it's a very nice example. Everything feels really nicely made. You've got traditional chemical bluing obviously on all the main action, so barrel and cylinder, etc. That's all steel and nicely finished. You've got a few plastic bits, so the sort of cylinder end cap there is plastic, as are the open sights. But as I say, these are fibre optic style open sights, and whilst they're plastic, they're nicely made, and obviously that's fully adjustable. Looking to the front, you've got, again, that's a plastic moulding, that front assembly, and you've got a nice red foresight element there. Again, all the fibre optic. Keeping on the muzzle there, they've blanked that off. This is quite unusual really for their brake barrels, but you've got a 1/2 inch thread on there, so you can stick a silencer onto the muzzle. Again, it's not with a spring piston gun. You're not going to dramatically alter the muzzle report, but it will give you certainly more leverage. So yeah, not very nicely finished. You've got, looking to the back, you've got an automatic safety catch that pops out, and then it's just in the right position to nudge away when you need to. Beach stock, again, it feels nicely made. A little bit, I mean, this is sort of traditional sort of straight line German styling, but you could do, I don't see why they don't give a higher cheek piece. That would be nicer. And likewise on the butt, cost would be minimal, but this is sort of quite hard plastic. Some bit of rubber, soft rubber, is going to cost peanuts, and it would be much nicer. But as it stands, everything is very nicely made. The trigger, you've got particularly light. You can see, probably pick up how easy that's moving. So the first stage is particularly light, and in use, this has been there's a bit of creep, but the actual release is all very pleasant and very sort of advanced on a for again spring piston, where the mechanism's got to hold back so much poundage on all the links. So if you look to the breech, we've got very chunky, it's sort of all over engineered, but nice chunky bolts either side, and of course that will take a big Allen key. So basically you've got an adjustable breech, and of course you think the breech is the weak part, the sort of weakest link on a brake barrel, but if you do keep on top of it, you can take up, nip that up for wear, and so you know, it's a perfectly usable system. Now we'll just cop this first of all. So jolt open the barrel, put that nicely somewhere in the groin. As I say, that is a bit slippy there. It's a little bit irritating, but keep control of that. Right, jolt open the barrel. Make sure you've got a proper grip of it as always, and pull that down. So I've now completely cocked it. The automatic safety's popped out, and it's all ready to, you know, you can now have access to the breech. There's two things. One is positive and one is slightly negative. If you look inside there, you can see there's a nylon stud, and that's a nice attention to detail, and what that does is stop the cocking lever rattling when it's been locked up. So that's real attention to detail. Everything's beautifully made and beautifully engineered there. But the pellet, I found all pellets on test were a little bit of a sloppy fit. So push that in, but there's no, it's sort of chamfered, so there's no real grip in there. So that means when you're going to close this, and it's a bit tight at the minute, make sure the pellet doesn't fall out, because obviously you don't want to fire it with no pellet. A little bit fiddly. And again, on here, when this is just a slight negative. I'm a big fan of this gun, but you've got an honest assessment here as to pick up. You've got to be careful of that foresight. You probably want to grip it a bit further up. I'm naturally grabbing the end, but you don't want to put too much pressure on the element of the foresight. Anyway, so we've closed that off. We're ready to go. Push forward the safety. We'll just fire this off. That's a two-stage trigger, as I say. You've got an awful lot of poundage that the mechanism has to work with, and it's just very nice. It's very, very light on the first. There is some resistance on the second stage and a bit of creep, but it's a very, very sweet trigger to use. So yeah, obviously that all helps accuracy. As you can hear there, we'll just fire a couple more to get an idea of the action. Cocking effort's reasonable, and you're not hearing much spring twang or anything. So I'd guess they're using some sort of device inside to also sort of calm the action. Just one more. There we go. I must say, the actual feel of the action, there's very little twang, and there's just a sort of mild bounce to it. So it's not harsh at all. So a very, very nice gun to shoot. And so on test, we've had groups at sort of 30 yards, a little over 1/4 of an inch. So pretty damn accurate. And yeah, the usual build quality from Diana as a German brand. I've always been a big fan. A little bit irritating on the stock, but other than that, this is a great rifle, very impressive. Quite pricey, 372 quid at the moment, retail, but you're getting a quality piece of kit. So that's the Diana 34 EMS.